Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual training center of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher. Children, we are in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, isn't it? Because of that, we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean that we are going to stop learning. We are going to meet here regularly through the virtual training center to learn many lessons in EVS. So come on, let's go to a lesson in EVS. So children, as we discussed last time, let us start and continue the next part of the lesson that we were doing in standard 3rd, and subject was EVS. We were talking about our sensory organs. So in lesson number 16, we have a lot of information about our sensory organs, their functions, and what do each of the sensory organs help us with in our life. And we also discussed that when we do the next video, we will be talking about certain other points in the lesson like coordination of movement, about overcoming our difficulties and disabilities, etc. So here I am with part 2 of the lesson, our sensory organs, lesson number 16. So let us move on and let us see what are the different things which are there to be learnt in this lesson. But before that, we will do a quick recap of what we did last time. So we learned the new term sense organs or sensory organs. So what is a sense organ or what is a sensory organ? It is an organ that tells us about our surroundings. So our eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin are our sensory organs which help us to know about our surroundings, to make us aware about what is there in our surroundings. So which are our different sensory organs? Let us see now. So we have the eyes here in the picture. We have ears. Okay. So come on, see, look at the dots. I'm trying to connect the name of the organ with the picture of the organ. Then you have the skin. Okay. Then the tongue. And finally the nose. And in the lesson last time, we also talked about the functions of these different organs. So come on, let us do a quick recap of the functions also of the organs. So we saw that we see with our eyes. Okay. And we saw that we hear with our ears. So whatever things we hear, whether it is good sound, whether it is harsh sound, all these sounds are heard because of our ears. Then we saw that we touch and we feel with our skin. Okay, we taste with our tongue, and then we also saw that we smell with our nose. Sometimes we make use of various sense organs or multiple sense organs for the same thing. For example, if we want to know whether a mango is ripe or whether a mango is raw, that is kacha aam or paka hua aam, what do? We can either taste it, or we can smell it, or we can see it. So we can use our nose for smelling the raw mango and finding out whether it is raw or ripe, or we can cut a piece of the mango and taste it, put it in our mouth to know whether it is raw or ripe. Or we can also simply look at the mango and say whether it is raw or ripe, because a raw mango is green in color and a ripe mango is yellow in color. So all these things, children, we had learnt last time when we did the lesson number part 1, that is video 1 of the lesson sensory organs. So now in the second part of the lesson, children, we are going to talk about coordination in our movements, and I will try and show you the pictures which are there in our textbook only. So let us talk about coordination. So now what is the meaning of coordination, children? Let us learn using this particular picture. So in this picture here, you can see that a woman is doing something in the kitchen. Okay. So she has got her, she's standing in front of a gas stove which is lit, and there is a pan or a kadai on the gas stove, and she is using various parts of her body in order to do one particular work. Alright, so what is the work that she's doing? She is roasting some peanuts. Alright, so let us see which part of the body is she using.
So look at this. She's roasting the peanuts. So for that, she has stood in front of the gas and she is looking at the peanuts. You have to look at the peanuts also, isn't it, to see whether the peanuts are getting roasted or not. So she's looking at the peanuts. Her head is bent forward. She's using both her hands. One hand is holding the pan, the other hand is moving the peanuts around in the pan using a stirrer. So there are various body parts that she is using in order to do one particular task. And this use of various body parts, children, is called as coordination. We use different movements in our body at the same time. That is called as coordination. All these movements should match each other. If they do not match, then what will happen? Something else will happen. Something not so good will happen. So see, which all body parts is this auntie over here using? So her head is bent forward. Okay, why she is bending her head forward? Because she wants to take a good look at the peanuts which are roasting away in the pan. Alright, she is holding tongs with her left hand. So she is using both her hands, I told you. So she is holding the tongs. What are tongs? Now a kadai or a pan, when it is hot, you cannot hold it with your bare hands. Okay, then your skin will get burnt. So she is holding tongs. She is using tongs in her left hand to hold the pan in place. Then she is also stirring the peanuts with her right hand. Alright, so both her hands are in use. And you know, when you stir, you have to continuously keep on moving your hand like this. Okay, otherwise the peanuts will get burnt. And she is also looking at the peanuts. Why is she looking at the peanuts? Because she wants to make sure that the peanuts do not burn. At the same time, children, she can also smell the roasted peanuts. Even if she takes her eyes off the pan for a moment, if suppose someone calls her and she turns her head and she cannot see the pan anymore, but she can always smell the roasted peanuts. So that is how all these parts of our body are working together in coordination, we say. Now suppose she doesn't work in coordination. What will happen if her hands go in one direction, if her head is in the other direction, if she is looking somewhere else, what will happen? The peanuts might get burnt. So we need coordination always for any work if you have to do the work smoothly. If there is no coordination, then what will happen? We might make mistakes. For example, sometimes when you are climbing the staircase, you have to look at the stairs and then you have to place your feet, isn't it? If you do not look at the stairs and if you place your feet, what will happen? You fall sometimes. That is because there is no coordination between your eyes and your legs. So, coordination is required in all our movements in case we want to work smoothly. Let us take this other example of this person on a sewing machine. So he's stitching something. So see which all parts of his body is working in coordination. So his head, see his head is bent and he's looking also very carefully at the cloth. Alright, see his eyes, he's keeping a close watch on the cloth and the machine. And then you will see that he's using his hands also. Alright, and in certain parts he's using his leg also, which you cannot see. You know, you have to, in case it is an electric machine, then it is okay. Otherwise you have to move your legs also. So see, all these parts of his body he's using in coordination because he wants to stitch a good shirt or a good dress. Suppose he does not look at the machine when he's stitching. What will happen? The dress will become shapeless. If he doesn't move his hands properly, what will happen? His hand might get stuck under the needle. If he doesn't look, if he doesn't use his eyes, again he could make a mistake. So understood what I'm trying to say? That many body parts, they work together in order to do any work. Okay, they work together to get any work done. If they do not work together, if you do not pay attention, if there is no coordination, what can happen? The task will not happen smoothly and there may be certain mistakes. So this, children, is about coordination in our movements. Let us move on and go to the next topic here in our textbook. Okay, and that is about overcoming disabilities. So let us first try to understand what are disabilities. But before that, let us see all the things that we do naturally, we do normally. So you play football, okay? Then you read. Now to play football, your legs, your eyes should be proper. To read something also you should be able to see properly. That means your eyes should be okay. We go to school, we carry our bags on our back and we walk to school. We look around us, we cross the road when we are going to school. Okay, so these are the things that we do normally, children. We read, we play, we go to school, then we watch TV also. See how these two children are sitting and watching cartoon on the TV. Now to watch TV, you not only need to see, but you also need to hear what these people are saying. Isn't it? So these are all the tasks that we do normally in our life. So we play, we have fun, we eat, we drink, we read. Okay, there are so many things that we do normally in our life. Why are we able to do all these things normally, children? It is because all our sense organs are functioning perfectly. It is because our hands are functioning perfectly, our legs are functioning perfectly, and our entire body is normal. But suppose there is some kind of physical disability in your body. Suppose any of the sense organ is not working properly, or there is some problem with your hands or with your legs, then what happens? Then it is said that we have certain physical disabilities. Disabilities means you are not able to do certain things normally. So that is called as an disability. If you are able to do, then that is an ability. If you are not able to do, that is a disability. So see, what kind of disabilities could people have? People who cannot see, we call them blind. Have you seen people who walk around with these white color sticks? That is because they cannot see. There is something wrong with their sense organ, that is with their eyes. Okay, then we have certain people who cannot hear. And always remember, children, we speak because we can hear. When your mummy teaches you how to say give, how to say water, you listen to your mummy and then you speak. But people who cannot hear, they cannot speak also most of the time. So such people are called as deaf. They are also called as dumb. Okay, there are children who cannot walk because there is a problem with their legs. They might have had an accident because of which they are not able to walk, or there may be some other problem with their leg. They might have had a disease or something. So all these things, children, they are called as disabilities. Okay, they are not able to do things normally. So that is called as a disability. But we can change, we can convert this disability into an ability. All right, we can overcome these disabilities in many different ways. So let us talk about what are the different ways in which we can overcome these disabilities with the love and with the support of other people. So see, there are two children over here who are a little disabled, but see their friends, they have not left them out. They have included them. So in case in your class also you have a friend who is not able like you, who is a little disabled, what should you do? You should always include them. You should always support them and help them to live a normal life. Alright. Other than that, children, there are many other devices also or machines also which help these people to live a normal life. Now see, this is an electric wheelchair. Okay, so you can sit on this wheelchair in case you have some problem with your leg. You can sit on this wheelchair and you can go from place to place, so you need not depend on anyone. Okay, so these kind of wheelchairs are called as electric wheelchairs. There are normal wheelchairs also, and in buildings now we have these kind of ramps where these wheelchairs can climb up a ramp or come down a ramp. So what happens is, these people do not have to depend on others and they can do most of their work themselves. Okay, so we can overcome our disability like this. Now there are some other things or techniques which help us to overcome our disability. For example, we have these kind of artificial hands, artificial legs which can be attached to our body. See here, this is an artificial leg. Now this person must have lost a leg unfortunately, but see, he's walking normally like us. Okay, he's used an artificial leg. Can you see? Now this person here has used an artificial arm. He is doing everything that we are doing. See, he's throwing a ball and then he is flying a piece of cloth around. Okay, see, he's picking up a cup of coffee. He's drinking it. So his artificial arm is allowing him to lead a normal life. So this is also a special device which is used in order to overcome the difficulty. And there is a word for this. It is a big word. Just listen and forget it if you don't want to remember it. Okay, it is called as prosthetic. All right, so look at this. Along with artificial devices, there are also certain people or certain animals which can help you in case you want to overcome your difficulty. So for people who cannot see, for blind people, there are dogs which guide them, which take them from one place to another. Okay, so there are such kind of support animals which help these people. See here, this lady is not able to walk because of certain reasons, so she has got a support dog with her. Alright, because of all these things, what happens is, we can overcome our difficulty. We can move from one place to another without anyone's help. So we can be independent. Okay, now if you cannot see well, even that is a disability. If you're not able to read properly, if you're not able to see well, what can you do? You can use spectacles or chashma as we say, and many people around, they have specs. Even I wear a specs. If you can't see properly, then what you should do, you should use specs. And people who cannot see at all, who cannot see anything, you must have seen they use a cane, a white color cane, in order to move around, so that you can see. When you see a person with a cane, white color cane, you know that that person is blind, and so you can also offer help, especially if you are at a crossing traffic signal. Okay, if you see such people, you can also go ahead and help them. Alright, now what about if you cannot hear well? Now if you have a small hearing problem, then you can make use of these hearing aids. Can you see? There is a small machine which is attached to your ear, and then you will be able to listen to the sounds properly. So you can make use of these hearing aids to listen well. Alright, now for people who are deaf and who are dumb, people who cannot speak, who cannot hear, but these people also want to communicate. They also want to tell others what they want or what is there in their mind. So there is sign language for such people. Okay, so see here, this is thank you in the sign language. Can you see how she's saying thank you? She's making use of sign language to say thank you. See, and if you have done something wrong, then you can say sorry also to such people using sign language. If you say the word sorry loudly, they might not be able to hear you. Okay, but if you do this action, then they know that you are sorry. So there is the sign language also. In case there is someone in your family, someone in your neighborhood, you can try to learn these small things in the sign language also, which will help these people who are a little disabled. Okay, So this is how you can help people and support people if there is some kind of disability. And of course, we make use of wheelchairs, you know. And nowadays, the life of these people have also become normal. See, this is a sporting event where slightly disabled people are participating in a race. So how do you run a race? You run a race using your legs. You run, isn't it? But these people, they cannot run because they have some issue with their leg. So what do? They have a running race sitting on a wheelchair. So see how people have changed their life and adjusted their life. How? By overcoming their disabilities. Okay, so you can overcome any kind of disability that you have. See here, this boy, unfortunately, he doesn't have both his legs. But see how he is playing football? He has got artificial legs. Can you see? But see, nicely he is playing football. Is he sitting in a corner and crying and saying that, oh, I cannot play because I do not have legs? No, because he has overcome his disability. Alright, see this girl here, she doesn't have hands. How is she painting? She's painting using her legs. Some of us can't paint even using our hands, isn't it? Even God has given us nice hands, we've got beautiful fingers, but still we cannot paint. But look at this lady, she's so brave and she has overcome her difficulty. She is painting, she is drawing using her legs. And look at this wonderful picture where this man is drawing using his mouth. He doesn't have both his hands. And he's using a brush to paint, and this brush he's using with the help of his mouth. So see, no matter how serious your disability is, now this man doesn't have both his hands, which is a very serious disability. But even then, you can be strong, you can be brave, and you can overcome your disability. Alright, now in our textbook, there is a story of this girl called Arunima Sinha. She's a very young girl from Uttar Pradesh. One day what happened, when she was traveling on a train, she was pushed off the train. Okay, someone pushed her off the train and she became very serious and they had to cut off her leg. The doctors, they had to cut off her leg. So you can see here, one of her legs is an artificial leg. But did Arunima cry about it? Did she say that, oh, my life is lost and I do not want to live now? No, doctors gave her an artificial leg and slowly she started getting used to this artificial leg. And what did she do? She started training to climb mountains. So she started training to be a mountaineer. And just 1 year after her accident, she climbed the Mount Everest. See, just 1 year after she lost one leg. So there are two people in this image, one person with two normal legs and our hero over here of the story, Arunima Sinha, who's got just one leg. But is she giving up? No, she's training to be a mountaineer. And finally, she climbed Mount Everest, which is the highest peak in the world. And it is a big achievement. Okay, climbing the Mount Everest. So what does the story teach us? This story teaches us that unfortunately, if we ever have any kind of disability, we should never give up. Okay, we should keep working and we should not lose faith in ourselves. We should be strong, we should be brave, and we should overcome whatever difficulty that we have. Not only physical disabilities, but also any other difficulty that we come across in our life. So let us now finish this video or wrap up and complete this lesson using this particular quote from your textbook. It says, always remember what? Even if there is a disability in any organ, we can find a way out of that difficulty. We can learn to be self-reliant. What is the meaning of self-reliant, children? Self-reliant means not depending on anyone, being independent, trying to do all our work ourselves. Okay, so this was a long lesson like I told you in the beginning of the first video. So in the first video, we talked about which our sense organs are and what are the different functions of our sense organ, and we looked at each of the sense organs separately. So if you want to rewind those points, you can go back and watch the previous video which I have uploaded. Okay, and in the second part, that is the second video of this lesson, we talked about two very important things. One is coordination in movements, that is how all the organs need to work properly and in discipline if you have to do any task smoothly. And we also talked about disabilities that we could have, that is when we cannot see well, when we cannot hear, or when we cannot speak, when we cannot hear, or in case we have some kind of issue with our limbs, that is our hands, our legs, then it is called as a disability because it does not allow us to live a normal life. But then also we discussed a very important thing, that is if you have a disability, what should you do? Should you cry over it? Should you get disheartened? No. Even if there is a disability, we should find a way out and we should learn to be self-reliant. So wasn't that a very interesting and very informative lesson, children? So that is all for this lesson today. So let us meet again next time for a new lesson in EVS.
So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learned a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.